There's a big one. Four-pounder. Woo! Bassmaster fans, how you like that?
It's the DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula, being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
Oh, things are happening. Here we are and ready to go with the final decisive 3 hours of fishing in the second stop of the season for the Bassmaster Elite Series. The rules of the game. Bring you up on that. We've had 4 days of fishing. We're down, as we say, to the last 3 hours. Started with the full field on the first couple of days. Cut to 40 for day 3. We're down to 10 anglers on this final day. 10 anglers only with a shot at the championship. 8 hours of fishing. 5 fish a day for each one of our anglers. And this is where we stand right now. Started out as a fairly predictable, we thought, sort of outcome. Scott Canterbury started with a good, substantial lead at the start of the day, put a limit in the boat, good, solid limit early. We thought, man, something pretty outrageous is going to have to happen in order to change the complexion of this tournament. And come about 10:45 local time, Buddy Gross actually made that happen. Buddy Gross coming from down in 10th place in order to pull within 2 pounds of Scott Canterbury. This thing is now completely changed. We've sort of, if you like the drama, we've been given a gift here. We've been given a blessing.
Well, at 10 o'clock in the morning, no joke, when we said we're going to have to manufacture some drama for the rest of the day, and we got a gift. And the one thing to really look at is if you look at the 2019 Bassmaster Elite Series season, we had 2 anglers that were in 10th place come up to the top and take the trophy on the final day. It's almost like you feel like we're reliving it. To put it in golf terms, Buddy Gross is a rookie trying to overtake the reigning Angler of the Year champion, and he's coming from about 10 strokes behind to do it right now.
Off the pace, and he just made some big plays in order to make this happen. Hey, we have got great things happening. What a great playing field we've had at Lake Eufaula all week long. Ronnie Moore, Mike Sukon, I guess you guys would agree with me on that. This thing has given us all we wanted and more.
It has been diverse, shallow and deep. We've seen deep kind of take that transition Friday and Saturday, and now it's primarily the offshore gig. I'm excited because if Buddy Gross does make this comeback, he could have the biggest bag of the event, the biggest individual bass of the event, and he could take home the trophy all the way from 10th place.
You can't count out a guy like Brandon Cobb who just put a 5-pound 5-ouncer in there, and he's 3.9 behind our leader.
He could do the exact same thing. That is exactly right. Just thinking about that, Such. Let's go out and take a look at this fabulous fishery, which has given us so much over the course of the last 3.5 days. Lake Eufaula is a superb place to have a tournament. That's what we found out.
A lot of folks thought coming into this tournament that Lake Eufaula was going to be stingy. It's been very pressured the last few months. Lake Eufaula has stood up to being one of the best lakes in the country, a very big playing field here in southern Alabama, right on the border of Alabama and Georgia, 85 miles long from the dam all the way up the Chattahoochee River, and really the deeper water. What everybody thought coming into this tournament, yeah, we've had rising water, and a couple anglers do very well shallow, but the deeper water is what is reigning today.
Absolutely. That's where the action is. And has it been all day that way? Yes, it has. And let's talk with the man who took the lead. Well, started the day with the lead. 4-pound lead for Scott Canterbury over the rest of the field. He lost the lead for about 30 minutes and then went to work.
Well, there's a reason that he is the reigning Angler of the Year on the Bassmaster Elite Series. One of the most well-rounded anglers that we get out on the water with, from shallow water out to deep. Scott Canterbury, very powerful. The other thing is, he's been pretty much flawless this entire tournament. We've only seen him lose 1 or 2 fish fishing offshore brush piles. We're going to get into all of that, but it seems like almost every time he sets the hook, they're that big and bigger.
He has quickly gained a reputation as an absolute bulldog who will never, ever give up. He never loses his concentration. He never phones it in. He's always 100% on task throughout every day of every tournament.
This right here, a very key bite for Scott Canterbury, right at about 8:30 a.m. this morning.
What you're seeing was what was happening this morning. Scott Canterbury building that lead step by step, just the way you would write it up in a textbook for a way to close out a tournament early on the final day. And I've got to admit that myself, and I think a few other people too, thought he may have done just that. But it would not be that way. Scott Canterbury We get out there, and well, let's go out live now, can we, to Scott Canterbury and see where he's standing right now. He would be almost overtaken by Buddy Gross. Big things have happened. We're going to explain it all for you, show it all to you here.
There he is. That's him. That's a good one. Stay down. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. He'll help for sure.
What's your guess?
3 pounds.
Say 3
3 1/4.
A little bit of help for Scott Canterbury, of course, as he built that giant lead through the course of this morning. Early on, that when Scott Canterbury was catching his big fish of the day, Buddy Gross back in 10th place, caught a 5-pounder. And then we caught up with Buddy Gross, who had been building himself for a while. He did this, which just absolutely turned things upside down.
That's a daggum 9. Quit that. Quit it.
One of the best deep water fishermen on the Bassmaster Elite Series, right? Hey, he's a rookie only in word.
Yes,
Buddy Gross, one of the
only
most
technically
accomplished deep water anglers in the country. Gonna get out with Buddy Gross right now.
And after that, he would continue to hammer the bass, slowly
Yes.
upgrading a little bit more, eating into that lead of Scott Canterbury. It's
Well, we kind of hit a low. Right now is usually when they start biting. I'm back to where I've had some really good luck all week. God, there it is. That's a big one. Whew. That's what I was going to tell you. They've just been biting here all week. He was barely hooked. That's a good one. That's going to be a good call.
okay.
Let's make sure which one.
Okay, he has a 5 bass limit.
5 bass limit,
He's gonna call out his smallest bass right now.
which
with
we know to
anything-
be 2 pounds and 10 ounces.
correct.
That looked like maybe close to 4.
I would say 4.
Okay, so this is going to be a meaningful cull for Buddy Gross. You can't have but 5 fish in your live well while you're fishing at any time. So he's got to get rid of his smallest, and that's the way to cull.
You seen breathing right there?
The goal being to take your 5 largest keepers of the day to the weigh-in stand. And that weigh-in is coming up at 3 o'clock. We've got plenty of fishing time in between, but man, oh man, things have tightened up.
About a 1.5 pound upgrade would put him less than a pound behind Scott Canterbury.
I need to call Trip. Maybe I don't.
Okay, so Buddy, well, all straightened out. Kuphall started the day in 2nd place over to Brandon Cobb, whom Such mentioned. Brandon Cobb certainly is in a position. He's got some small ones in the boat in his limit, and he catches them mainly in the afternoon here. That's been the way it's happened for him. He could go catch a couple of giants and put himself right in the conversation as well.
That one ain't tiny. like catching them on a worm better. It's not as sketchy on a worm as it is treble hooks. You ain't that big, buddy. Easy. I must have him hooked in the side of the head or something. Quit. Come here. Got him. Why are they getting hooked so minorly? Look at that. Fell out. It makes up for that last one. I think that might be a 5-pounder. I have not caught a 5-pounder all week. And that one could do it.
That fish right there putting Brandon Cobb all the way up into 3rd place for today. Again, he's just getting into the time of day when he does his best work. It's played out over the last couple of days here. Boy, what a season 2019 was for Brandon Cobb. Really came into his own.
Exactly right. We went to Lake Hartwell, and everybody knew that Brandon Cobb, he basically grew up on the shores of Lake Hartwell, backed up his reputation there, sealed the deal, and kind of blew the field away. But it's really when we turned around and went to Texas is where we learned who Brandon Cobb was.
Up against that dynamite field in legendary Lake Fork in Texas. And Brandon Cobb, we went to work on Big Bass, and Big Bass is what it took to win this thing. And Brandon Cobb.
Look at this thing right here.
11-1.
One of the best catches in Bassmaster history. Over 100 pounds of bass for a 4-day event.
Look at those century mark. As much coveted, and Brandon Cobb won the belt, won the blue trophy. Man, oh man, what a season. Only 9 regular season events, and he took 2 of them. That is phenomenal.
Such said it during our Toyota Midday Report on Facebook. He said Cobb is only 2 5-pounders from taking the lead.
I came back
one of them.
making a run through really the stuff that I've been doing most of my damage on this week, and fished it all this morning pretty much. Never had a bite really. I mean, nothing substantial. I'm making a run back through it now, catching a few here and there. I caught one big one, caught a 3-pounder I think, and then jumped off like another 4 plus. So first one I've lost all week, kind of unfortunate, but we'll keep on getting them. I've been idling a few after I fish them. There's a good many fish in every pile. I just can't get but 1 or 2 to bite. So it probably run back through them again. I came back up here a little earlier than I have been so that I might can get 2 passes on everything. There's one. It's a little big one, I think, though. Yeah, he's really tiny. Old Big Mama. Thank you. I didn't want to mess with you anyway. Started throwing a crankbait a little bit. I've thrown it a good bit this week, caught some on in practice, and the calm conditions hadn't really been, I haven't caught that many on. Today it's windy, it's making it easier to hit the brush. Kind of catching some on it today. Yozuri 3DS deep runner.
Well, make no mistake about it, Scott Canterbury still the guy on top, still the guy to beat through the course of this afternoon, but the assault is on. That is for sure. Brandon Cobb, Buddy Gross now.
This tournament was over 3 hours ago. Scott Canterbury had this thing locked. It was done. And somehow, Brandon Cobb and Buddy Gross absolutely back in the game.
No doubt about it. We have got a free-for-all going on here. There's no other way to put it.
Did not see that coming.
No, we did not see it coming. It gave everyone a wake-up call. We have got action on the way this afternoon. Action with consequences. There will be one winner at the end of it all, but we got a lot of business to sort out before we get there. We're going to take ourselves a short break right here on Bassmaster
Live.
The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
What do a taco and a taco truck have in common? Nothing. If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
When I'm on the road for work or for fun, I always like to have a reliable generator around. This open frame inverter from Champion is ideal because it's lighter than a standard open frame generator and more affordable than a traditional inverter. The remote start helps me start up the generator or shut it off without having to leave my camper. It provides essential power for things like charging my boat batteries, also makes life a lot more comfortable for myself and my family.
I can vividly remember back when I was a kid and, searching for information. And it was so much work and it was such a struggle to get that knowledge, to get that information.
We talked about the equipment, we talked about the bait, we talked about how to pick it apart.
It's highly detailed, specific information from A to Z to help you learn, get to the water, and become a better angler quickly. That's what the B.A.S. University is all about.
If you love bass fishing, then show your support by joining B.A.S.S today. With your membership, you'll receive every issue of Bassmaster magazine, plus $50 in free gear, including a membership tackle bag, B.A.S.S cap, plus more. Click now on this video to join today.
The DeWalt's Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is brought to you by Power Pole, Skeeter Boats, Yamaha, and by Toyota.
Fourth day of fishing in this regular season Bassmaster Elite event, one of only 8 that we have. And after the first 2 days, that guy has been the story of this tournament as far as anglers go. Scott Canterbury, last year's Angler of the Year, the award for the most consistent performance throughout a season. And he started this season pretty much where he left off, Mark Zona.
Exactly right. And the one thing about Scott Canterbury, he has done his homework here on Lake Eufaula. Is if you're following us here at home and you've never been to Lake Eufaula, yeah, it looks like a beautiful lake, but underneath, it's what Scott Canterbury is throwing at. All week long, we've talked about man-made brush piles, and basically the best way to put it, if you just cut off the top of a tree and drug it into the lake, there are tens of thousands of those in Lake Eufaula. Every time Scott Canterbury's worm or jig is casted out, it is casted out with purpose into one of those objects, and it seems like, well, Scott Canterbury has had the best brush piles all week long so far.
Also relentless at staying after it, never stops his rotation, trying to get his timing, fine-tuning his effort all the way through the course of this tournament. Of course, it resulted in a good lead to start this day over the rest of the field.
And one of the scary things in this tournament right now, you look at second place rookie Buddy Gross. He told us this last night after the day 3 weigh-in. Hey man, my best bite all week long has been from noon on. And he said anything I catch before noon truly is bonus.
Canterbury also has been doing a good job of catching them steadily all day long, but you have to admit his bigger fish have come in the morning. So that's kind of what we have to look at right now. Twists and turns of this final day have been exciting to watch.
My legs are tired because I got the weight of the world on my shoulders right now. It's, I feel like I'm blowing a dang 4-pound lead is what I feel like. And I'm doing everything I know to catch a big one. Everything I can think of. it's been a stressful day, for sure.
Well, as we mentioned, Scott Canterbury, the reigning Angler of the Year, and we said that's all about consistency throughout a season. It's also one of the top 2 awards you can get in this sport, one of them being a Bassmaster Classic champion, one of them being Angler of the Year. Some anglers will tell you one is more important than the other, probably split about 50-50, right down the middle, but Scott Canterbury left no doubt about the fact that he was worthy of that award last year.
And really, if you watch Scott Canterbury's year last year, we knew he would catch them in places when we were down south. Winyah Bay, one of the biggest bass weighed in that tournament. But to me, watching Scott Canterbury's year, it was really when we went up north, when we went to Cayuga, St. Lawrence River, Lake St. Clair. Scott Canterbury backed up his reputation as one of the most versatile anglers that we have covered in years. There was absolutely 0 holes in his entire game on the water.
Absolutely. Take a look at that performance. Started out a little bit slow the first couple of days at the St. Johns River, and then that was over with. He was overachieving from then on. Had one little flat spot there at Lake Fort.
Which, in all honesty, if you watch Scott Canterbury fish this tournament, that's one of the tournaments he should have probably
won. Yeah, because that was the same basic proposition as we have here on Lake Eufaula. A little bit deeper out there, fishing some structure. This time it's man-made or man-placed structure.
Scott Canterbury sitting with a 5 bass limit, but somewhere in his voice you can kind of tell that he knows, even though he has a solid limit right now,
That's right.
The calculator's going off that
sure.
This is not over yet.
There's a couple reasons for folks who tune in don't know why he would think that. For one, there's a goal weight, what you see the bags coming in all week, 20 plus pounds. If you don't have that, you probably think someone else does. And also boats out there following you. You could have 6, 7, 8 people watching, and when they start to disappear, they didn't just go into the boat ramp. They're probably following someone else who's catching them.
It's a humbling feeling when all of your fans leave.
Right. Urgently going somewhere else.
And it's a good feeling for Buddy Gross when he's 10th starting the day and they all of a sudden put a camera in your boat and more people show up. You're like, hey, I'm feeling it.
Yeah, our anglers cannot see the scoreboard.
They can't, but they can.
The other anglers are
real good at picking up clues.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is my first tournament here ever. I came down a couple of times before it went off limits just to practice it. And I didn't fish it at all. All I did is idle and mark brush the whole time. I mean, I know from past tournaments here that they had a bunch of brush out down here, and I just came down here and decided that was going to be part of it, whether it was all of it or not. I was hoping to find a bunch of brush and then be able to find me some schooling fish offshore, which is why I'd rather fish, is laid fish, but I never did find what I thought was a great school out. I had one school first day, and it just kind of fizzed out. So I just started running the brush, and I just started producing, and I just stuck with it. But it's a great lake. I can tell you that I'd like to come back. It sets up to my style of fishing. I like offshore fishing, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of people fish shallow in this tournament, but it's just not what I do, so I didn't fool with it. As long as I can get off the bank, I'm gonna get off the bank. And luckily there's some structure out here for me to fish, so. It's crazy how much the watercolor changes in places though. I'm noticing watercolor changes where usually I'd rather stay in that cleaner water, but though some of my biggest bites is coming out of some of this stained water. And I think it's all coming out of one creek up here. Like the creek just runs dirty. I don't know why, but it's pretty neat. But I think the biggest thing this week for me that helped me was switching over to a dark colored jig instead of running a shad. I've seen so many white.
Yeah.
Matt Arey there.
Wow.
That's
out of nowhere.
A big one. Yes.
Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you catch up quick. Couple more like that, and we back in the game, baby. Lake Eufaula stud. That fish was in the absolute dirt. I mean, it was that deep. I saw her come out and bite my jig on the fall and just come towards the boat with it.
That's how fast we have seen shifts on this lake. Absolute giant. And that's one of the biggest ones we've seen caught shallow today from Matt Arey.
That's a big one. That's a big one. That's a freaking giant, dude. Yeah. Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you catch up quick. Couple more like that, and we back in the game, baby. Lake Eufaula stud.
That's a potential Sports Center top 10.
Fair. That's sure shows the potential of what is also available up shallow in these last 3 hours of fishing here.
That was awesome. I mean, right now on Lake Eufaula, you're liable to catch a big one anywhere. In a foot of water, or 17, 18, 20 foot of water. It's really pick your poison this week, and you know, I'm running new water now, and that's what it's going to take. You know, new water, for those that don't fish, is water I haven't fished all week. It's all new to me. The lake's getting a lot of pressure from other tournaments today, and just trying to get away from the crowds and do my own thing and get hung on a milk jug. We're going to have to go get that because we're running low on jigs.
What'd you say, Zona? 5.5?
Absolutely,
pounder?
5.5.
If he does that, it'll put him in the 72 to 73 pound range, which is from 4th to 7th. So everyone's right there outside the top 3.
That's a freaking giant, dude.
Gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you catch up quick. Couple more like that, and we back in the game, baby. Lake Eufaula stud.
Best thing is he swung it.
Oh, yeah.
Swinging a 6-pounder on the final day.
Have we seen anyone do anything else but swing
on.
Great stuff. Matt Arey, very accomplished angler, very smart. He's not going to leave any stone unturned going up into shallow water and getting a big giant like that to put himself back in the game, as he said. Scott Canterbury still on top. Buddy Gross has fired the big shot across his bow, but we're starting to see things pop all over the lake and expect that to go on for a while here. Getting closer and closer to the finale in this tournament. Take a break and we'll be right back on Bassmaster
Live.
The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories. Fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
Groundbreaking designs, unsurpassed quality, and unshakable confidence. Welcome to the Ranger Z500 and Z100 series. Leading the industry for over 50 years, these rigs are custom crafted and loaded with more features and advantages to deliver the ultimate ownership experience. The legendary Ranger Z series. Unleash next level performance. Mercury, go boldly.
You're watching the DeWalt's Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula, being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
Note for tomorrow, Sunday, our next 30 for 30 film, Long Gone Summer, takes an unprecedented inside look at Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa's record-breaking home run chase in 1998 with exclusive interviews from both. They helped bring baseball back after the '94 strike, but it came at a price. 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. Good entertainment happening right now on Lake Eufaula. Less than 3 hours to fish, 2.5 hours of fishing time actually for these 10 anglers who are left on the final day shooting for the big prize. And Scott Canterbury with a big leg up to start the day. 4-pound plus lead. He extended throughout the course of the morning until Buddy Gross came from 10th place. Catching one kind of early. Nice big 5-pounder. Third place, Brandon Cobb. Buddy Gross, of course, came back to build and catch that 7-pounder, and certainly that's something that's available to Brandon Cobb here. We just saw him catch a 5.
Brandon Cobb, while we were away, said afternoon is when his bite turns on, just like Buddy Gross.
Because he couldn't feel, probably. Yeah. I don't know what that is. It's a decent one. It's not real big, but I think he's bigger than one in there. I don't want him to jump. I want him to keep going. It's not real big, but he's bigger than the 2-pounder, I believe. Not a giant, but he's bigger than one. Oh, humpback. Because I still have it 2 even. It's not a 3-pounder, I don't believe, but 210 out of 10 ounces.
Brandon seems to think that one might help, however, a small amount of help. But, we haven't talked about the strength of this top 10 that we started today with. We looked at it yesterday before we went home and said, oh my gosh, this group. These two right here, Brandon Cobb, whom we just saw, Jamie Hartman, so improbable to win one Bassmaster Elite event in a season. Both of these anglers last year, over the course of just 9 events, notched 2 wins apiece.
Exactly right. One of the tournaments that we covered, Jamie Hartman, he landed on the mother lode of largemouth on Lake Guntersville, came from 10th place, and really, we covered this tournament together. None of us were looking at Jamie Hartman on the final day. And if you really think about it, from there, we went up north to Cayuga. That's where you thought Jamie Hartman should catch him. Well, he did exactly that. Kind of blew the field away on the last day. And if you think these guys took half of the season from the rest of the field, where a lot of big names in this sport have never held a trophy in their career.
So the leader, Scott Canterbury, knew he was up against some rough customers as he came into this day. That top 10 is packed with guys who can get the job done, guys who are used to overachieving.
Hung up again.
Tell us about your day, Jamie.
Man, we're gonna run some more piles, some more brush piles up and down this layout. I'm not going down any further, I don't think. They have not fired since that morning bite, so I don't know how the other guys are doing. I just talked to Drew Cook. He's out here right now, and he says he may have 14, but so it's tough. But he caught him in the afternoon yesterday, and I caught him in the afternoon, so I think there's a window, man, but I don't know when it's going to be, if we're going to hit it today or not. Being due in at 2 o'clock, and there's a lot of boat traffic today and a lot of fishermen. We're going to keep plugging, buddy. That's it. I mean, that's all you can do when it comes down to like this. You don't understand what makes these fish fire. You know, during the day, I'm sure it's pulling water, but wind. You know, we've got a east-northeast wind, it seems like, turning a little more north now, but I mean that repositioned my fish to begin with, but I found them quick, luckily, and they were biting a little funny again, but we got them to go, and man, when they shut off, that was it for me. I have not gotten onto anything. I lost one 3.5 pounder on a frog right at the boat. I lost him, he jumped off, and that was the only opportunity I've had since. I don't want to just go switching up strategies right now, because I'll be going and looking for that kind of stuff for that frog. That was just a spot that looked incredibly good. There was a little point with grass on it. Sure enough, man, there was a good one in it. So, I don't even know what time it is right now, man. 11:38 already. I think yesterday it was like noon to 2 it was on fire. 12:30, I'd say. Everywhere I pulled up, man, if there was one of our guys there, they were hooked up. I watched, huh?
It definitely seems like there's been a lull.
Yeah, no doubt. It's very, very typical for post-spawn summer pattern. It gets so hot. It's 90 degrees every day, you know. So they'll bite real good in the morning. Yesterday I knew they was pulling water from like 1 o'clock to 6 a.m. and it was on fire yesterday morning, and I didn't look, but I assumed they was pulling it again this morning, and it was on fire again. And then it just shuts off. I mean, just like that. You could be throwing in the same spot, catching them. Look at that. Did you see that bass? He just jumped clear over my line. That was crazy. Dude, I've had so much crazy stuff go on.
Jamie Hartman out there. What a story. The guy who, regional, big stick up there in upstate New York, Oneida, Champlain, places like that, and gave it all away, sold everything,
sold his house,
sold his house,
threw everything in a storage unit, drove around the country
to join the Bassmaster Elite Series. Oh, hey, we got a little extra bonus coverage watching Drew Benton right now. Hooked up.
Probably the closest pro in proximity to Eufaula, considered probably the closest local.
Mm-hmm. This is a big one.
He's already got a 6-pounder and a 5-pounder in his lateral.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yes!
Yes,
That's
sir.
what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Let's go win this thing.
Let's win.
Let's go win this thing. Come on. Wow.
Did I hear his marshal also join in and say, hey, let's win this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That is a big one.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes, sir.
He's got 2 1-pounders. That'll
That was perfect timing.
give him a big call.
A little more than 4 pounds. He's just jumped up to 4th place. 19.5
You
on the
want me to punch
day.
that one in? Ass. Okay, right here. Okay.
Well, we're going to get hooked up with a B&W trailer hitches on the line and actually get a chance to talk to Drew about that. Hey, they're kind of biting. The big ones are showing up for you.
Here in the last little bit, yes. I went up shallow, caught a big one on a frog off a brim bed, and rotated through a pile that I fished probably a dozen times already this week. And some other competitors are fishing it too. And one knocked slack in my line, first cast. When I pulled up here earlier, they were just slapping at it. So hopefully that's a sign that they're starting to bite in this brush a little bit. I still got 2 real little ones that I can get rid of and move up a lot. So I've got 3 of the right ones. I'm only 2 bites away, I feel like.
Drew,
plenty of time.
Real quick, every single day of this event, they seem to absolutely ignite after lunch. What happens, if you could visualize, what happens under the water in your mind?
In my mind, at that time, those big ones get up on top of the brush and suspend or get right on top of the brush for whatever reason. I think it's that the shad are starting to move closer to the surface and kind of roam around, and those big ones get on top of the piles. And for what I'm throwing, they just smoke it when they're on top. So.
Drew Benton right there.
Did you notice he didn't tell us what he was throwing?
No,
right
not
there?
exactly. We'll find
Our
out.
guy right there.
All in good time. We will find out. But Drew Benton knows he's got time to get up in there and make a difference, maybe even make a run at the win in this tournament.
Lives about an hour away. Definitely did a lot of homework for this event.
The Lake Seminole guy, which is just down the old Chattahoochee from here at Lake Eufaula. That's the way it stands right now. Still Scott Canterbury, still with a couple of pounds, or almost a couple of pounds over Buddy Gross. But look at Brandon Cobb. He is right there. I mean, right behind Buddy Gross, where things have changed in a big way since about 10:30 this morning. Lots of changes yet to come today. We're getting closer and closer to weigh-in time, but a lot more is bound to happen, so don't go away on Bassmaster
Live.
The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
I'm pro angler Andy Montgomery. I've been making my living with Strike King products for a long time. So when they showed me the new Tour Grade line, I was all in. I knew I could trust it. What I didn't know was how easy it was to use. With the spooling tool and the prepaid envelope to recycle your old line included in every single box. Not only is it the best line on the market, it gives you the easiest fishing experience possible. Find out more at StrikeKing.com.
Skeeter, is it still setting the standard? Let's see. First bass boat, first U.S. Coast Guard approved bass boat, first V-hull pad design, largest owners tournament, great fish and win program, first sponsored whole capacity concept, first production composite bass boat. Yeah, way too much for 30 seconds. And 18 consecutive CSI awards. Now we have introduced the FX Apex series, a fully featured boat with so many standard options, leaving nothing left to desire. So yes, we are still setting the standard. Skeeter.
This reel allows you to cover more water, make more casts, giving you more opportunities to catch more fish. The new Revo Rocket, Abu Garcia for life.
You're watching the DeWalt's Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula, being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
#1 tournament in the world of fishing is the Bassmaster Classic. Nothing else even comes close. There's the Classic and everything else because it's the World Championship. 2021 edition is going to take place on Lake Ray Roberts, Trinity River, just north and east of the host city, Fort Worth, Texas. Third time ever for the Classic to be held in Texas. Fort Worth is a natural. Big sports town, big fishing-loving area.
Big fish.
And big fish.
Big fish there.
And a brand new arena, the Dickies Arena, which is a state-of-the-art, tremendous place. Going to be everything coming together for a really terrific World Championship when we get to March 19th, 2021 of 2021. There's a look at Fort Worth there. Old Chisholm Trail, the gateway to the west. So much history, and Lake Ray Roberts, like so many of those Texas lakes, they have paid attention to building big bass populations.
Texas Parks and Wildlife have done a great job on all their waterways throughout the state. Some of the biggest bass that we see throughout the entire year.
Going to be some good action there. There's been some good action on the water. The picture as to who is going to win this thing is not getting clearer. It's getting cloudier, and that's a good thing. Here's another big one moments ago, Drew Benton.
Actually,
this is the one we just saw.
We saw this one right here, an absolute giant for Drew Benton.
Put in as a 5.5.
It is all of a 5.5. That is.
Yes!
Yes,
That's
sir.
what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Let's go win this thing.
Let's win.
Let's go win this thing. Come on.
And we left and took a break, and then this happened.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That got rid of basically another 2-pounder or 1.5,
Right.
so it was a good 2-pound upgrade, put him in second.
And
also, while we were away,
Drew Cook,
kind of a neighbor.
Boy, it's an assault right now on Scott Canterbury.
Oh my gosh. That one from Benton we just saw put him into second place ahead of Buddy Gross.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about. We had to wait all day for it. Oh. Yes, sir. The old unfished pile was the deal. What the heck's going on? Between 2 and 3.
Not very often in the last 3 hours of fishing in a tournament, the last day, do you get some of the biggest fish of the tournament coming up in big numbers, but boy, it has shaken up the outlook right now. Scott Canterbury still with the lead. Buddy Gross was in second place. Drew Benton with those 2 catches, 2 great culls. He was able to manage out of that, puts himself into second place.
What has happened on this lake in the last 3 hours? Seriously, when we've taken our midday break here on ESPN2 throughout the week, and there'd be a major lull, and a lot of people, a lot of folks, locals included, thought Saturday was going to be the toughest day.
No bass on this side. They don't have the right stuff.
Over to Matt
Except
Arey.
shade. But these bass don't seem to care about shade. I said no bass on this side, and then I catch one. It is definitely bigger than that last one we caught. Not much, but it'll call. Much bigger than that one. That's sad when that one's a lot bigger than your smallest one. Wasn't sure what we had when it first hit. Slurped it like a big one, but it's starting to bite a little bit. They did this yesterday afternoon shallow, and I'm debating on even. There's a couple piles I really do need to hit, but
And that Arey starting to get a little more action, just like about half of the field here. Getting really, really busy here in the final hours of fishing. It's when you need to get busy. Drew Cook, we just saw him land it, a really good one. That's going to move him up from 7th place. Just waiting for that to cycle through, fast track, and get posted there.
Well, I caught a lot of fish this morning. You know, I started on a school that I thought, you know, would be something that I could, you know, possibly catch, you know, 20 to 25 pounds off of. And all I caught was little ones. It was weird. I don't understand it. I wanted to kind of stay away from this deal because I knew it was going to get a lot of pressure. But I had to leave. I had to come down here and do it. And it's been a later bite, obviously, and we already made one rotation through here and didn't really catch anything. And now we just made our rotation again, and we're on like the 2nd or 3rd stop, and just caught one for something. So hopefully it can turn on real quick. I had one other bite on a swim jig right after I caught that one. So there's obviously more in this pile. Hopefully they're all about the same size, and we can catch us a bag right here.
Some of the highlights of Drew Cook's day, operating for the most part in the same general area as Scott Canterbury.
Exactly, and one of the most amazing things about Drew Cook, we got to cover him the majority of the 2019 season. He's your 2019 Rookie of the Year. Is he lives about an hour away and said he's only fished this lake 3 times in his entire life. Lives right near Lake Seminole, lives on a great lake in northern Florida.
But again, he's not that far removed from being a teenager, so he hasn't had the time to visit just everywhere in the world.
Point well made. Point well
made. Great stretch yesterday where he caught about 6.5 pounder and another 6 pound fish to get a 22-15 bag, second largest of the day.
Well, you can tell how a lot of these roommates work together. Drew Cook is also a roommate of Drew Benton, and we have not seen a swim jig out deep all week long. And we've seen 2 swim jigs in the last half hour from Drew Cook and Drew Benton.
These two right here, 2019 Rookie of the Year on the left and Drew Cook. And who's leading the Rookie of the Year stats this year? Well, Buddy Gross.
A 47-year-old rookie.
Yep. Nice work if you can get it.
A lot of time left.
Oh, plenty of time left. Turned out to be a wonderful, wonderful afternoon here for bass fishing fans. There's your Rookie of the Year standings with Buddy Gross on top. Kyle Welcher held down that title, carried it over from our first event of the year down on the St. Johns River in Florida. Taku Ito and Caleb Kuphall.
Well done.
Hey,
well,
I struggle with it. I struggle. We'll be back.
The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
The season is starting and it's time for you to bring it. Pit your knowledge against friends and fans everywhere in Rapala Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing. It's free and it starts by signing up. Then pick your 5-angler team for each event. Grand prize winner gets a Bass Pro Shop shopping spree, cash, and Rapala prize pack. Plus new opportunities including $4,000 worth of prizes for each individual event winner. Plus another $500 if you're a Bass member. Total value for the season is $90,000. Sign up today and start bringing it at BassmasterFantasy.com.
When I'm on the road for work or for fun, I always like to have a reliable generator around. This open frame inverter from Champion is ideal because it's lighter than a standard open frame generator and more affordable than a traditional inverter. The remote start helps me start up the generator or shut it off without having to leave my camper. It provides essential power for things like charging my boat batteries, also makes life a lot more comfortable for myself and my family.
Bassmaster sweepstakes prizes are crazy good, and you'd be crazy not to enter.
Yeah, baby!
Enter now to win a fishing trip with 50 at Bassmaster Classic Champion Hank Cherry. Trip includes airfare, rental car, hotel, and $500 cash, plus a Basscat Sabre FTD with Mercury 150 Pro XS Garmin electronics, and an amazing prize pack. Total value more than $50,000. There's a 100% chance you won't win if you don't enter. Go to Bassmaster.com and up the odds in your favor. It's fast and easy, and who knows, you could win.
You're watching the DeWalt's Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula, being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
Lots of entertainment on the water today. Later, we'll have another UFC fight night from the Apex in Las Vegas. Number 1 ranked flyweight Jessica Aya takes on Cynthia Calvillo, moving up to 125 pounds. That is our main event. Main card starts at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. The prelims at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app.
Who do you have in that? Come on.
I've already made it pretty clear that I don't have anyone yet.
You don't at all, do you?
I like to do my research at the last minute. I want the latest.
All about Cynthia Calvillo tonight.
Okay. I wait on the latest facts. Thanks, though, for thinking of me.
I'm cemented there.
Okay. All right. Scott Canterbury, as he started today, still in first place, his lead a fraction of what it once was. Drew Benton had moved into second place, replacing Buddy Gross. Buddy Gross bumped back. This is a slugfest at the top of the leaderboard, exactly what you want on the final day of one of these tournaments. But now we turn our attention to Chris Zaldain.
Let's kind of rewind time to the beginning of this event. Chris Zaldain had probably one of the best big fish spots on Lake Eufaula.
Welcome back, baby. Quarantine is over, and we're catching giants out here on Lake Eufaula. Bassmaster Live, ESPN2. I see you. I see you. Stay on there.
Yes, you do. And it almost looks like on day number 2, this is a replay. It is actually a bigger one than he caught on day 1.
That's a big old Eufaula bass right there. Get out of that trolling motor, whatever you are.
Well, this was today with Chris Zaldain, about the same time, as you can tell from the angle of the sun.
Oh, it's a big bass. Big bass. Oh, come here. No, come here. Whoa, swim towards me. Swim towards me. Yes.
Take a look at that bass.
That's number 1.
Hooked outside of the mouth. That actually is a legal catch. Unless you're visibly fishing for a bass. You catch it like that, whether it's on a spoon or a crankbait. That is absolutely a legal catch per bass rule. Get on the water right now with Chris Zaldain, one of the primetime players on the Bassmaster Elite Series. A huge 2019 season.
Yeah, so it's noon. Got 2 hours left to fish. It's been a tough one on me today. I don't know if it's the boat traffic and the heavy tournament pressure or what, but there's a lot of boats in this area from here all the way down to the dam. I tried to get on a couple spots and there was boats all over. I ran the frog thing for 2.5, 3 hours, and that's even slow. I think I've only had 1 bite on a frog after like 15 bites on it yesterday. Wouldn't be surprised if I look at the chart and it says they dropped the water level just a hair. I'm on my main spot now. I just got here. I see a couple fish down there on 360, but they're hard to get to bite in the middle of the day and in the afternoon, so. Got 2 hours left to fish, still looking for some magic. I think after I leave here, I'm gonna call it good off this spot. It's been good all week. Caught 22 pounds the first day on it, caught a 7-pounder the second day on it. But I think we're gonna fish all new water going all the way back to the ramp here for the next 2 hours, mixing it up both shallow and deep. But overall, it's been a brutal day, pretty tough. And there's a whole lot of boats up there. Wouldn't be surprised if a lot of guys are struggling today. You know, our guys in the top 10. One thing's for sure, that 8 to 10 foot brush zone, I see, you know, a lot of guys in the top 10 are doing it, and that's one thing I didn't do this week, and that right there would have completed my shallow and deep stuff. I never looked in that 8 to 10 zone. I was either catching them in 15 to 22 or right on the bank. So all in all, it's been an awesome week. We got 2 hours left to fish. It's not over yet, but it's been a killer week. No longer active. Not big, and I don't think he'll help. He might help a little bit. I doubt it, maybe. Yeah, I think he'll call that last one we caught, actually. Yeah, he'll call that last one we caught. What'd you say? Ooh. Man, I got one that's all belly up on me.
Nope.
Six-pounder from Clark Wendlet.
Little guy.
A real slow start for Clark today, but he's quietly put together
a
pretty decent limit. Gonna have to catch some giants. Here's Buddy Gross.
She's big.
Wow.
Yeah. Stay on there, baby. Stay on there, baby. Stay on there, baby.
Oh, Gross currently 1.5 pounds.
That's a big one.
Behind Scott Canterbury.
That's like a grown.
Smallest is a 3-pounder.
Anything over 3.
Open your mouth.
Pull him closer. Woo! He's got it. Oh, that is a good one.
That's it.
That's the biggest bag of the tournament right here.
I cannot believe this. Look at the size of that thing.
That's our 4th lead change of the day.
Wow.
We have a picture of that jig. We need to take a peek at it here when things slow down again. But the absolute improbable has happened in this tournament.
Started today 7 pounds, 9 ounces behind Scott Canterbury, who just overtook him.
we're going through the culling process. He's looking for his smallest fish, which he will
Out of
replace with that, out of 5. Only can have 5 in your box. So he's got to get rid of the smallest one so he can accept that one he just brought in, which is how big, Z?
The one he just caught? I mean,
That was
it's
a
a
cold.
6.
6?
Yeah, I'm going light.
That's the same brush piles this morning.
That's the biggest bag of the tournament for sure.
I don't know. It's skinny, but it's got a 10-pound head. It's probably 6.5. Yeah, I'm guessing.
He put it in as a 6-7. It's 26-pound bag, 83-pound total.
I'm going to tell you something. This is one of the most impressive final days for a guy coming from literally the bottom of the pack, 10th place, and having to do the impossible. Well, really, the impossible is everything in your live well had better be
Thank you very much.
4 to 5 pounds, and he has done it.
Right now, I got the heart pumping, son.
And what's incredible is he still has a 3.7.
I don't know.
that he can
If
get
it
rid of.
don't, I did all I could do. That bag's all I can do. Unless there's another 9-pounder right here. Woo!
It's awesome.
Your new leader.
That is awesome.
Buddy
I,
Gross.
I don't care if you own
6
Bass
foot of
Fish.
water.
Dude, in the sports world, what he did, I mean, it is the Patriots coming back against the Falcons.
Oh, we still got a quarter left, too, though.
And he's fishing for $100,000. That's the thing. The next big one could seal a $100,000 payday.
He made the comment after our weigh-in last night during his interview. He said, man, I have found the bait. Finally changed baits yesterday afternoon. He was adamant. He said, last night, I found it. I know what they're biting. Unbelievable.
That is
I
stunning.
can't believe that. Woo! That is crazy.
We have our Phoenix Boats Big Bass. We have a list of top 10 bass of the day. He's got 4 of them.
Turn this thing around. Took a 2-pound lead ahead of Scott Canterbury. That was a big hill to climb from 10th place. Not unheard of. It happened last season.
But it's so rare. It is so rare, especially this time of year in an offshore event, when you get to the weekend, generally our weights, and this has been in the history of the Bassmasters, all the offshore tournaments that we've covered, by the time you get to the end of the tournament, the fish have been pressured. They tend to run a lot smaller. They don't generate as much current and water on the lakes on the weekends. And we see our weights go off. They'll go down throughout an event. And Buddy Gross has steadily risen since day one, the likes that we've not seen in an offshore tournament in a long time.
It's a tribute to Lake Eufaula. It's a tribute to the fact that the guys we've got out there, these 10, are hitmen supreme when it comes to this kind of fishing.
It was
That'll
43rd
put a
after.
smile on your face. Win or lose, that's awesome. That is awesome.
43rd out of 80.
Huh?
7 anglers after day 1, 17th after day 2, and then slipped in
Matter
at
of fact,
10th.
we need a little fist bump on that one.
Now it also really comes down to looking at the unofficial leaderboard right there. Everybody, the anglers, us, we're all guesstimating. Second place right now, Scott Canterbury, is a notoriously low guesser of the size of his fish.
Yes. Agreed.
Yesterday, the most extreme example of that, 4 pounds
Are we
off.
on live? I'm just curious.
If he's 4
That's
pounds
why
off
when
now,
my
he's
phone
still the
was
leader
going
by
off, I just
2.
wondered. Somebody just wanted to say hello, I guess. That is crazy.
You know what we're going to do?
Huh?
It's fair to say, usually we like to do this right before our weigh-in. At about 10 o'clock this morning, we were ready to drive out to the lake and hand Scott Canterbury the trophy.
Agreed.
Raise the trophy, it's done, let's all go home. Well, the power pole replay of the day, no, take that away. The power pole replay of the tournament is this man right here from Lake Chickamauga, Tennessee, one of the best offshore fishermen in the country. coming out of nowhere with that shot across the bow. And we thought, you know what? You got a prayer.
Oh, sheesh.
But what are statistically, what are the odds you'll catch another
That's
one?
like a grown.
Buddy Gross just accomplished that right here. You are the Power Pole replay of the day, of the week.
Open your mouth. Woo! That's it. God.
I mean, that is an Alabama slouch. Look at
That's
that.
That's a toad.
Ah!
That's a toad. No, you can't overstate what Buddy Gross has done right there. That has been a tour de force of offshore fishing prowess by the Tennessee angler. Absolutely. These guys are all so good. But Buddy Gross has just showed us what is potentially available out there today, and he has made it happen. It has come true. He's taken over the lead from Scott Canterbury, but plenty more fishing time for Scott to come back.
The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
Wherever the trail gets rough and the mud gets deep, you'll find a Toyota Tacoma. It's the best-selling compact pickup in America for 12 years, and it's not because we baby them. If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories. Fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
You're watching the DeWalt's Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula, being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
Well, shade over 2 hours fishing time left for these anglers, the 10 who are out there on this final day, Championship Saturday. Scott Canterbury started the day with a good, substantial lead over the rest of the field. In fact, Buddy Gross was down in 10th place, 8 pounds back. You can see what has transpired during the course of this day. Buddy Gross has put on unleashed one of the most awesome offensives of fishing we have ever seen, catching them big and often. He is in the lead right now, 2 pounds ahead of Scott Canterbury. Drew Benton moved up into a substantially advantageous place. Brandon Cobb, you can't count him out as well. The picture, she's not getting clearer. She's getting more murky as we go along.
It really is. This is kind of how it's played out throughout the day. You know, we came into the Bassmaster studio, all eyes on Scott Canterbury, and he came out firing early this morning with that big one and really just backed it up with solid Lake Eufaula bass. Right around 10:45, Buddy Gross catches about a 6.5 pounder, and literally 30 minutes ago backs up that 6.5 pounder, well, with a twin brother.
He had been putting fish solidly in the boat all day long. pulled up big time with both of those fish. Oh my word, look at that one.
Yes.
And that has made the difference. Buddy Gross on top now.
And I'm going to tell you, Scott Canterbury definitely has room to grow. Every ounce is going to count. Every small call that Scott Canterbury could make will be very critical now until weigh-in.
There she is. Won't help. Won't help. Stay on. I don't think she'll help. Won't help. I don't think it'll help. Yeah, it'll help. It'll get rid of that. $2.85. It's on the light for $2.85.
Plenty of tournaments decided by 6 ounces, 4 ounces, 1 ounce, which has happened here at the highest level on more than one occasion. Davey Height mentioned 2002, Denny Brower finishing an ounce ahead of Randy Blockett. Right here on Lake Eufaula.
What did Canterbury say? He was getting rid of a 285?
Yes.
So a 2-pound 13 ounce or 2-pound 14 ounce are going back, and that a 3 and a couple ounces.
Hey, it's not that Scott Canterbury has a bad stringer at all.
No.
No.
What was his biggest? You think a 4 to 4.5?
Yeah.
It was put in as a 4, and the rest are 3 to 3.5. So there's some, maybe a half pound to 3/4 of a pound discrepancy.
Well, bottom line, he's far from being closed out, that's for sure.
Let's go again.
Well, that man right there, Buddy Gross, has made the big charge from 10th all the way into the lead on the final day. And we're going to bring you in for a little bit of AFCO Taste the Bait and a breakdown not only of the bait that he's throwing, but where he's throwing it and how he's fishing it, Z.
Oh, I think everybody that's watching at home, especially if you don't bass fish, you want to know, you see a 6 to 7 pound bass, you want to, what is he catching them on? First off, here's where a guy like Buddy Gross is catching them out of. This right here is a down image of what these guys are fishing. And this is just a standard brush pile. There's tens of thousands of these in Lake Eufaula. Here's the bottom of the lake. You see the brush pile, the branches right here, a school of bait and bass underneath. But what a lot of guys are utilizing is called Humminbird Mega 360 imaging. So right here is the front of your boat. And if you look, here's a 60-foot radius around your boat. And right there is a man-made brush pile, so you're gonna make a cast to 2 o'clock. And here's been really the key bait for Buddy Gross. He said late on day 3, he changed to this prototype Nichols jig with a Zoom chunk trailer. And here's what the deal on Lake Eufaula. You see a lot of guys throwing crankbaits, real big plastic worms. These fish become conditioned. I mean, you can only see a lot of your friends get kidnapped for the afternoon to where you're gonna shut down and not bite those lures anymore. Buddy Gross made the comment, as soon as he changed to that jig, that is when his tournament turned around.
That's your AFTCO Taste the Bait. That homemade jig from Buddy Gross has him with the biggest bag of the tournament right now and possibly the biggest bass of the event as well, helping his 10th to first comeback on the final day.
Well, Buddy Gross, when he joined the Elite Series, all the advanced publicity was, here was a guy, yeah, he could do it all, but he loved the big baits, the big slug fests. He wants to be in a tournament where they're catching big fish. That's where he prospers, and I think he's backed that up pretty substantially today.
That was a killer AFTCO Taste the Bait.
It really was.
Well done, Ron Moore.
Oh, both of you.
Just pulling the curtain back for everyone watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Just provided the key to understanding. Buddy Gross, understand that he is in the lead right now, a couple of pounds ahead of Scott Canterbury. These are all unofficial weights, however. Could change substantially when we get to the time when we make them official. That is weigh-in time. Coming up at 3 o'clock today, Dave Mercer will have them cranked up and ready to go. Running these 10 anglers through there, and we will have a champion at the end of it all. Something tells me we are far from being done with the fishing, and that is true. We'll be right back.
The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
Skeeter, is it still setting the standard? Let's see. First bass boat, first U.S. Coast Guard approved bass boat, first V-Hull pad design, largest owners tournament, great fish and win program, first sponsored whole capacity concept, first production composite bass boat. Yeah, way too much for 30 seconds. And 18 consecutive CSI awards. Now we have introduced the FX Apex series, a fully featured boat with so many standard options, leaving nothing left to desire. So yes, we are still setting the standard. Skeeter.
The season is starting and it's time for you to bring it. Pit your knowledge against friends and fans everywhere in Rapala Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing. It's free and it starts by signing up. Then pick your 5-angler team for each event. Grand prize winner gets a Bass Pro Shop shopping spree, cash, and Rapala prize pack. Plus new opportunities including $4,000 worth of prizes for each individual event winner. Plus another $500 if you're a Bass member. Total value for the season is $90,000. Sign up today and start bringing it at BassmasterFantasy.com.
The DeWalt's Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is brought to you by Humminbird, Mercury, Minn Kota, and by Talon.
Tomorrow, Sunday, our next 30 for 30 film, Long Gone Summer, takes an unprecedented inside look at Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa's record-breaking home run chase in 1998 with exclusive interviews from both. They'll bring baseball back after the '94 strike, but it came at a price. 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. Oh, we are treated to some great competition today.
Yes, we have been, my friend.
Man,
yes, we have been.
It doesn't get any better than this. That is a long, hackneyed phrase, but it's certainly applicable today. Great battle at the top of the leaderboard. Looking to make a big move and join those who are up there is Drew Cook, currently in 6th place. Afternoons have been good for him.
It's a big one. Stay on, baby. Yes! Yes! We're getting somewhere now. And that one's actually fat, too. Dang, I had it. Yes, sir. A few more of those. We'll be all right.
Drew Cook having an incredible day, while we're seeing possibly one of the most incredible days, final days, performances that we have ever covered right now.
Yeah, that's an amazing fish from Drew Cook right there. Big ones. Also got a little weight on him and very important strategically for Drew Cook. Puts him up into the top 5. Wow. He's not out of it. Yet you're right, it's kind of being overshadowed by these pyrotechnics at the very top of the leaderboard.
Here's what's been amazing about this event is on days 2 and 3, we are with the leaders this time of day, and we would see 1 or 2 big ones. It's almost every time they set the hook.
I'm feeling better. You know, I've tried all day to keep the wheels on, and I was doing good, not falling apart. Now they're finally starting to bite. I don't know what does it for them, but you know, these piles have been very good in the afternoons. Can't catch them in the mornings on them. You'd think it'd be the other way around, but I guess once that sun gets straight up, they get more tucked into them piles. But that's 2 piles in a row, and that's 2 4-pluses in a row, so might need to hit 3 more piles. There needs to be some 6s and some 5s mixed in here if we want a shot. Because I don't see Canterbury falling that much, if any. Because I mean, he's fishing the same piles. He fished all these piles with me this morning, or earlier today.
What do we have, Ron Such, real quick? 5 bass limit, can call out your smallest one. We have Buddy Gross unofficially with 26.25 pounds, which would be the biggest stringer of the tournament thus far.
By a couple pounds.
What is his smallest fish right now?
3.7.
3.7.
His other four are a 7, a 6.7, a 5, and a 4.6. Wow.
Here's the way it lays out. Right about the time Scott Canterbury was catching his first big fish of the day. So was Buddy. And he has been just steady. Steady, and big.
Taking a look at that fish that he caught at 12:54 p.m. That's his smallest bass, so he's going to need a pretty big one to get rid of that one.
Yeah.
Captain Obvious.
He's, which he's fully capable of slapping down there.
He was joking that, I really can't upgrade unless I have a 9-pounder. Well, if you catch another 5, you're going to be up at 27 plus.
And again, if you're just tuning in, watching Buddy Gross, a rookie on the Bassmaster Elite Series, only in word.
Right, technically a rookie.
Absolutely one of the most powerful offshore fishermen. Anytime you get into deep water, we heard him talk about that. That is his wheelhouse. That's where he cut his teeth on Lake Chickamauga. Has won major tournaments throughout the country fishing this exact way.
We can just call him first year Elite Pro. Sounds more seasoned than rookie.
But he is the leader of our Rookie of the Year points race. We've overtaken Kyle Welcher just yesterday.
You see spectators starting to gather around and watch Buddy Gross and the performance that he's put on today. But you know when spectators, if you don't follow the Bassmasters, you know when spectator boats, fans of bass fishing start to gather around, the more they come, the more you start to put 2 and 2 together. Wow, I may not be in the lead, but I may not be far from it.
Look at the bottom half of our top 10 leaderboard there, Matt Arey. Clark Wendlandt moving up today. Kuphall. Again, these are all unofficial. All these numbers are unofficial. It may be much closer than we think. It may be underestimated in some cases.
You see that he just eyed up his 360 to make sure he had the precise cast.
How volatile it's been out there today when Jamie Hartman, who took over the lead right out of the box this morning, and hasn't caught them that badly. I mean, he's down there 9th place now.
To do this, though, really with as much pressure, not only from this event, but this lake has got a ton of pressure the last 3 weeks. Coming into this tournament, talking to a lot of the really good locals, a lot of them thought, man, if you snoop around 18 or 19 pounds a day, you will absolutely be there in the end. That would not have been the case.
Let's run down here to the other place and we're gonna go back up.
out there all this time since Buddy caught that giant. The man who arrived just in time for that was our colleague there, Davey. Hi, Davey. Man, your timing will never be questioned. Not that it ever has been, but it will never be questioned. You were right on the money. Good move out there, Davey Height. And what have you seen since then?
Well, thank you so much, Tommy. You know, sometimes things just work out, and it certainly did. You know what kind of fisherman, everyone that keeps up with the sport of bass fishing knows what kind of fisherman Buddy Gross is. And for those who did not know, they certainly see it now. It's been absolutely incredible to watch. You know, I was fortunate enough to be out here for a number of years, but I'm also a fan of the sport, and it's been very exciting for me to cover Buddy Gross when he has put an absolute beat down. One thing I don't know if you guys have actually seen, he broke a big one off and lost one pretty early on, but was really heavy. So it's absolutely incredible what's been happening in his boat this afternoon.
Davey, for folks that don't follow the Bassmasters, I know we have a lot of viewers that do follow the Bassmasters. Usually by this time of an event, especially on a lake that's received as much pressure as Lake Eufaula, talk about how rare this sort of a performance. I mean, this is you're shooting 18 under par on the final day.
Well, first, two things come to mind. You got some of the best fishermen in the world, obviously, and you're on one of the best lakes in the country. And it just keeps producing. And these guys are so good with their electronics. They're all around great fishermen. And when you put great fishermen on a great lake, it just keeps putting out. But you make up a great point, Zeke. It's so unusual this time of year. You know, spring of the year when fish are moving in to spawn and they just keep naturally moving in. But right now with the high water, it's really not the greatest conditions for offshore. But it has been incredible what I've seen today. Drew Benton, what he's caught, Drew Cook and what he's catching, Brandon Cobb. And oh, by the way, Scott Canterbury is not having a bad day at all. But what has happened with Buddy Gross, he's using a different bait than I've seen. It's a heavier jig, and it's also, you see a lot of these guys throwing the white jigs, but he's throwing a brim imitation, like green pumpkin, you know, with the little chartreuse on the back. And it has been lights out. He has fished some places behind some people and caught some fish. Where he caught the 6.5 a few minutes ago, he caught a 5-pounder there 4 or 5 hours before that. And I'm like, you're probably going to hit that again this afternoon before weigh-in. He said, yeah, I might. So, heck, who knows what we're about to see in these next hour and a half, 2 hours.
Davey, thank you so much. Man, Davey, delivering that camera into the boat there.
MVP, Davey Height.
Yeah, MVP of our production crew for sure. This week is Davey Height, who has been an MVP on this lake as a fisherman before, too. So some great action out there, and thanks to Davey's quick action, we got to see it. Got a ringside seat for the big move of the tournament, Buddy Gross. On top of Scott Canterbury, Drew Benton, and Brandon Cobb. Really all part of the conversation for sure. We got more fishing on the way, possibly more movement as well.
The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
I'm pro angler Andy Montgomery. I've been making my living with Strike King products for a long time. So when they showed me the new tour grade line, I was all in. I knew I could trust it. What I didn't know was how easy it was to use. With the spooling tool and the prepaid envelope to recycle your old line included in every single box. Not only is it the best line on the market, it gives you the easiest fishing experience possible. Find out more at StrikeKing.com.
I can vividly remember back when I was a kid and, searching for information. And it was so much work and it was such a struggle to get that knowledge, to get that information.
We talked about the equipment, we talked about the bait, we talked about how to pick it apart.
It's highly detailed, specific information from A to Z to help you learn, get to the water, and become a better angler quickly. That's what the Bass University is all about.
In the wild, nature dictates that when it's time to eat, animals will instinctively find and devour the meal that satisfies them most. In the water, Berkeley Powerbait's scientifically proven formula triggers the natural predatory instinct in bass. Now available in a plethora of shapes, sizes, and colors. Berkeley Powerbait. Fish bite and won't let go.
You're watching the DeWalt's Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula, being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
Out the lights! Oh my gosh! Gotcha! Yes! Inside the mouth, way.
Well, the next
down.
event for the Bassmaster Elite Series, this will be regular season event number 3. In about a month's time, we're heading up to Cayuga Lake in the Finger Lakes region of northern New York. A beautiful place and a great place for a bass fishing tournament. Cannot wait to get up there.
That might be a 10-pounder. Come here.
Yes!
That might be the biggest fish I've ever caught.
Yes. Dude, oh God, that's a giant. Stay on there. Oh my gosh. No, no, no.
Yeah!
Yes! Giant.
Oh my God, it's a 6. Come here. Come here. Thank you, baby. Yeah! Golly! That's a giant! That's a giant! Boom! Chakalaka! Giant bass!
Mm-hmm. Oh man, cannot wait to get up there. It's kind of a north-south divide most of our seasons in recent years. I mean, we fish down south, then we go up for a big smallmouth swing up north. That's
back to back to back.
Back to back is what's going to happen.
I'm pretty much moving to New York is what you're saying.
Yeah, you are going to go ahead and get your mail there. Buddy Gross is getting his mail at the top of the leaderboard right now. Scott Canterbury held down that spot for so very long today and doing a great job at it, too. It's just Buddy Gross has done something quite phenomenal. And we can't say that Scott is out of it by any means. He's got plenty of opportunities to get it back. There's Dave Mercer. And Dave, thanks for joining us for a while. I know you're getting ready for the big weigh-in. You guys have adapted and made that weigh-in. It has to be different, but you've made it exciting nonetheless. And here's something we touched on yesterday. You know, we're a little slow getting our season going for obvious reasons. Everyone knows why. We're behind schedule. It's the middle of June. But in a month's time, we are going to get caught up. It's going to be back to back to back. And, you know, obviously that'll be a big deal for those anglers.
I'll be honest, guys. I mean, I kind of took an informal poll with our anglers, and I think they'd like to just go there right now. I mean, now they're actually back doing what we love to do. You guys, I'm sure, feel the same. We just want to keep going. But we are going to have a few weeks break. But heading up to New York, it's different this time around. I mean, normally the season and positioning is almost kind of set up. You're setting yourself up going north for those that have to stay in the Classic Cut or those who have to make a charge. But with the way this season has started, with 2 events separated by 3 months, I mean, it kind of feels like there's more pressure going up north. I heard a lot of guys make comments like, man, I really need to catch them up north. I feel more. One of the Southern guys said, I feel more pressure to catch them up north this time than I ever have, just because we've had 2 events and I've kind of struggled. And it's almost like a false pressure, if that makes sense, guys. You know, it almost feels like because there's been such a distance in between these events. I mean, they still have the same number of events, but there's kind of a false pressure. But there's no pressure going to New York. New York is always incredible, as you guys know. The fish always show out, and that's the one thing that's fun about going up there. I mean, all these guys, whether they're, anglers like the rookie we saw this week, Kyle Welcher, you know, he's never been up north. I asked him if you ever been. He's never been up north, but you hear from a lot of them how excited they are. I mean, they've seen for years and years just how incredible New York is.
Dave, we've covered hundreds of events together, all of us here in studio, and there have been unbelievable final days. And we tend to, when it's a blowout, we manufacture drama. You do it on the weigh-in stage. Did you ever see this one coming today?
No. I mean, anybody that says they do, other than Buddy Gross, is a liar, really. I mean, I kind of joked with him this morning and said, you know, 10th place, it's a good one to come back from. We had a few of them happen last year, and he kind of laughed. But this is the kind of fishery we're talking about. But while we're all celebrating the buddy bombs that we've seen go off in the last few hours, that just proves to you just what kind of fishery we're talking about. I mean, Scott Canterbury could drop a couple of those bombs in a minute. You know, Matt Arey, anybody, anything can happen as long as they have just a few minutes left to fish, as we're seeing here in the last few hours of this competition.
Well, we are in the last few hours. Could come down to the last ounce, and you're going to weigh them in. You're going to be the decider there at the end of the day. Thank you so much, Dave Mercer. Good stuff from our MC on all things Bassmaster. Back out on the water with Scott Canterbury.
Feel like I'm about to throw up.
Well,
catching three. I caught a 3-pounder last stop, 3-pounder this stop. They ain't helping. I gotta have one big bite. May need two, I don't know. I'd feel a lot better with one than none.
Scott Canterbury is the reigning Angler of the Year. That's the award for consistency across a season. In 2019, that was the man, Scott Canterbury. And there's that award right there, and many people say just as important as the other big award, the Bassmaster Classic Trophy. And split down the lines, but Scott Canterbury proved he could catch them everywhere.
Absolutely. That is one of the biggest things that we learned about Scott Canterbury. We knew when Scott came to the Bassmaster Elite Series, all around very versatile fisherman. But to me, and it's exactly what we said an hour ago, when we went north is when he proved that, because he was against some of the best northern anglers on planet Earth to take that trophy.
Dream come true. He admitted as much, something he'd been wanting to do his entire life, is pretty much the case with every Bassmaster Elite Series angler. And Scott Canterbury,
a lot of pressure on him right now. It's a very important hour of his career.
I tried. We got to keep moving. Keep moving.
He had a second at Winyah Bay, a third at the St. Lawrence River. Paired him with all his other great events. Those two victories there eluded him.
You could tell when he received the Angler of the Year title.
I believe that don't get bit.
His Angler of the Year speech was one of the best we've seen.
Very emotional. Got emotional when he took the lead.
It'll take that thing 3 minutes to get to the bottom. I don't have 3 minutes.
He's feeling it. He knows he is definitely behind. We watch him live with a worm. I mean, yesterday he threw an 11-inch net bait worm all day, and we've seen him bounce around more than anything today.
Got an hour and 10 minutes left, but it seems like there's 15 minutes left in his mind.
Yeah. A lot of voices upstairs right now for Scott Canterbury.
my goodness.
We got almost a half an hour without
Let's
a
go.
catch, and Drew Benton just came across the board with the 3-pounders up to 22.10 today. Jumped into third place. He's over 80 pounds.
Didn't take
That's
Scott
the kind
Canterbury
we're after
long
right
to
there.
get cranked up this morning after everyone
a
got
big
out, got set up.
You caught that one right there. Is pretty much when we said game over. In fact, that's exactly what we said earlier this morning.
Yeah, just about ready to get out the wrench and the screwdriver and start taking down the set here.
Woo! Bassmaster fans, how do you like that?
That was good. Scott Canterbury. What a great week. What a great season. What a great last season for this guy. From Alabama, the only Alabaman in our crowd so far on this Alabama's Lake Eufaula. Buddy Gross, though, from Tennessee, the man on top. Some big-time heroics at midday and still riding the crest of that. Who knows who's going to catch him next? You have a feeling that the lake's got one more round of big bass catches to give us. Well, we'll come back and see if that's true.
The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
While I travel the country on the Bassmaster Elite Series, I simply can't let the weather be the reason I don't win $100,000. That's why I use AFCO clothing to keep me warm, dry, and protected from whatever Mother Nature wants to throw at me. My season depends on it. My career depends on it. AFCO, any fish, any water.
If you love bass fishing, then show your support by joining B.A.S.S. today. With your membership, you'll receive every issue of Bassmaster magazine, plus $50 in free gear, including a membership tackle bag, B.A.S.S. cap, plus more. Click now on this video to join today.
When I'm on the road for work or for fun, I always like to have a reliable generator around. This open frame inverter from Champion is ideal because it's lighter than a standard open frame generator and more affordable than a traditional inverter. The remote start helps me start up the generator or shut it off without having to leave my camper. It provides essential power for things like charging my boat batteries, also makes life a lot more comfortable for myself and my family.
What do a taco and a taco truck have in common? Nothing. If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
Groundbreaking designs, unsurpassed quality, and unshakable confidence. Welcome to the Ranger Z500 and Z100 series. Leading the industry for over 50 years, these rigs are custom crafted and loaded with more features and advantages to deliver the ultimate ownership experience. The legendary Ranger Z series. Unleash next level performance. Mercury, go boldly.
You're watching the DeWalt's Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula, being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
Later, it's tonight. We'll have another UFC fight night from the Apex in Las Vegas. Number 1 ranked flyweight Jessica Aya takes on Cynthia Calvillo, who moves up to 125 pounds. That's the main event. Main card starting at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, with the prelims at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific on ESPN.
ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app.
You have promoed that fight, Tommy, and that's the last promo for that fight.
Possibly.
Of this broadcast, I would like you. I'm calling you out. Give me something. You know where I sit. I'm all Cynthia Cabillo.
I know you're Cynthia Cabillo. I'll go with you on that.
You are gonna.
I mean, she's top ranked. Come on.
There you go. Back to Bassmaster coverage here on Lake Eufaula, Alabama. Unbelievable turn of events today. Buddy Gross in 10th place, over 7 pounds back of our leader, has taken the lead. Unbelievable final day performance with potentially the biggest stringer of the event.
I'm feeling pretty good about my bag. I don't know what everybody else has caught. I've done my job. I can tell you that. I can't help what everybody else catches, but I have done my job to the best of my ability today. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's been good. I've lost one fish. It broke my line, but it broke way out there. I must have had a bad place in it from a brush pile, but that's the only fish I think it might would have stayed that I've had a bite today. So I feel good about today. I hope it's enough. I really don't know what I got. I've been guessing at these weights and these fish. My scales weren't working, so I don't have anything to weigh with right now. So I think I know I got over 20, and you know them boys just gonna have to catch them. I feel good. I do feel good. I'm happy with whatever comes out of it though, regardless.
Buddy Gross is feeling good out on the lake right now, moving from 10th to 1st, or at least he doesn't know he's in 1st, but he knows that he's in contention because he's done his job out there on the lake. And if you're a Rapala Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing participant that picked Buddy Gross, there's 15.5% of the fans picked him. He was like the second highest picked in that top bucket. He is one to watch today because of all these big fish that he's got coming in. He's in the top of the lead. He would have moved from 260 points. That's what you get for 10th place. Possibly to a 385 point total. And you say, how does he do that? Well, moving from 10th place to 1st place, if he ends up winning this event, that goes from 260 to 300 points. If he gets the biggest bag of the event, which 26.4 right now is the biggest bag of the event, 40 bonus points. Then if that 7-pounder ends up being 7 pounds 6 ounces exactly, he will take the big bass of the event, another 40-point bonus, and then 5 points for being the daily leader. 385 points. It will be a huge swing in the fantasy fishing deal, and a lot of people are going to win and lose prizes just because of Buddy Gross's final day flurry to the top. And hey, I mean, that's just fantasy, but in reality, a lot of people are going to win and lose money based on him moving all the way up. Possibly a $85,000 bonus from 10th to 1st.
I'll brush pile one more time, I'll be happy. This thing's hiding tonight.
And in reality, Buddy Gross should not be fishing today.
He needs to be thanking his lucky stars that his buddy Shane LeHue accidentally had a counting error. We keep talking about culling.
Yes.
When you get to the number 5 in your live well, when you catch that 6th, you have to throw the smaller one back
immediately,
and before you start fishing
right.
again.
Yeah.
And
Cannot
if you
cast.
don't, then you end up getting a 2-pound penalty if you self-report it. LeHue did that, missed the cut by 4 ounces. Buddy Gross is in.
So if he would not have had that penalty,
Gross would be 11th
Buddy
and
Gross would have
be
been
back
11th.
home,
Wow.
hanging out at Lake Chickamauga at his home lake.
Wow.
But that's part of the game. Part of the game.
Right.
It's a big-time character thing as well for LeHue. We talk about it as a negative, but that's a huge character thing to self-report yourself and to take the 2-pound penalty.
I got a bag guide somewhere.
Still some shallow
I'm
water
putting that up.
attention being given by Caleb Kuphall. It's been offshore, though, all the big fireworks today. And those big fireworks have changed the total face of this tournament.
That
alive.
Moments ago during our break, Caleb Kuphall, rookie from Wisconsin.
Ooh, that's a big one.
That is a big one. Interesting hook set.
Yes.
Very interesting hook set.
About that one.
That one's not on Bass Track. We'd get rid of a 2-pounder.
Probably a 4.5. Oh yeah, I've been waiting for him for a long time, all day.
Best fish of the day for Kate. Yeah, he's got that reverse mousetrap hook
really
set
is.
right there.
It's from the hip.
Yeah, right.
Crack the whip.
Very, very impressive performance.
Prototypes. I ain't got many. No. That line's had some stretching going on, though, I can tell you that.
Davey Height, our guy, trying to get some baits out there.
Jamie Hartman hooked up right now.
I sure did want to keep one of them jigs, though.
So what was the one I lost just a minute ago? There's a good one. It's been so long I can't remember what number. On the bait, figure the bait out. That's 2 bites and 3 casts. It's number 5.
Jamie Hartman, it has been a long time since he's caught a good one. Great flurry to start the day, as he has just about every morning here.
Number 5. Just lost one 2 casts ago. Off is what I did.
I could give him almost 2 pounds. Netting out of his cull here.
And Jamie Hartman said number 5. That doesn't mean it was his 5th. He's looking for the one labeled as number 5 to cull.
Right. Yeah.
Not a giant call, but I'll take them for 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Jeez.
Not a ton of help. No. Hats off to Matt Arey and Caleb Kuphall. 2 anglers that really spent the majority of their time up shallow this tournament. A lot of other anglers, obviously there's 70-something other anglers in the field, and a lot of guys really pressed that shallow water bite trying to make it happen. And they really kind of won the battle of shallow water this entire week.
Seen some incredible topwater blow-ups on the frogs from our camera guys out there.
Oh! Just haven't had a frog bite today.
Critical 45 minutes left here.
Absolutely.
Yes.
1 5-pounder for Scott Canterbury. He's back in the lead. That's kind of the arithmetic.
1 5-pounder for Buddy Gross, and he blows this away.
Yeah. Those are the two sides of the coin that we're looking at right here. So plenty of tension to to chew on as we go into this last hour of fishing. Actually, less than an hour for most all of our 10 who are out there on the water. They got to make their way back. I want to tell you what, Buddy Gross, hang on. Stall for a while and keep it up. We'll see when we come back on Bassmaster Live.
The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
What do a taco and a taco truck have in common? Nothing. If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories. Fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
Pre-collision system, standard, on the 2020 Tacoma, so you can go from one epic playground to the next. If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
You're watching the DeWalt's Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula, being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
This March 19th, 20th, and 21st, they're going to bring a bunch of big hogs into Cowtown. Cowtown is Fort Worth, Texas. That's the site of the 2021 Bassmaster Classic. Lake Ray Roberts, fantastic lake there, north and east on the Trinity River, known for some big bass. Going to be big crowds and a bass-savvy community right there, great sports community, brand new facility. They're having this thing in the Dickies Arena. Going to be a perfect storm of great fun. And a world championship will be crowned once again. Hank Cherry, he's our defending champ. He'll be there to defend his title, that's for sure. A whole bunch of other hopefuls looking to change their lives by winning the Bassmaster Classic. It's been a little bit life-changing to watch what's gone down here today.
It literally has been.
To watch what Buddy Gross has been able to engineer. You come from 10th place all the way to first place. You almost technically qualify for a very important consideration.
I think you're right about that, Tommy Sanders, and really to come back from a over 7-pound deficit where the weights were so incredibly tight all week long. Well, only one thing could happen, my friend.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Exactly right, Tommy Sanders. Buddy Gross, you are going to be our Mercury move of the day, bouncing around really from brush pile to brush pile. And it started early and often, and as the day got longer, the fish got bigger for Buddy Gross, our Mercury move of the day. And here's one thing I'm going to tell you about this. I am not going to give it to the moves that he made on this lake. I'm going to give it to what we talked about at the Screen of Knowledge with one Ron Moore. The Mercury move of the day for Buddy Gross was not on the lake. It was what was on the end of his rod. Switching baits on day number 3, going to that prototype jig. Buddy Gross, you are the Mercury move of the day with one of the most incredible final day performances we possibly have ever covered.
Agreed.
That's it. That's her.
Look where he started. 43rd place out of 86 anglers.
That would have been out of the cut. if he'd maintained that pace through day number 2, but he did not. Ended up to 19th with a 20-pound plus bag. Dropped back below 20, and then, wow, look at that. That stands. That's going to be the big bag of the tournament. Not by a little, but by a lot.
Take a look right here, and here's exactly how Buddy Gross has done it. Every single one of those pings right there is a fish catch from Buddy Gross, fishing offshore man-made brush piles. And it seems like every time Buddy Gross would get, here's what was funny about listening to him today. He knew the exact brush piles that held those better than average size largemouth. A lot of brush piles from, call it 8 to 17 feet of water. He made the comment after our weigh-in last night, Bud, I have what they're biting, and I feel like I could put together a monster stringer on Championship Saturday.
Do I understand it correctly that his 2 biggest fish today came out of the same brush pile? I think that's what he said.
Yes.
I just,
Davey Height said.
That's a head scratcher there. That is phenomenal. Of course, now Scott Canterbury started the day, had really put in the work in this tournament, that is for sure.
A huge lead.
A great lead.
Huge
4
lead.
pounds clear of the rest of the field. And temporarily, as often happens, he lost that lead because someone else catches a smaller limit early. But, man, didn't take him long to get back in the game.
That's the kind we're after right there.
And you cannot stress this enough. It's not that Scott Canterbury in any way, shape, or form has had a bad day. He has a better than average size stringer in his boat right now with a couple really good ones. And it's going to come down to how he guessed the size of his fish and how Buddy Gross guessed the size of his.
Great point, because none of these weights that we are talking about, numbers we're throwing around, are official.
Woo! Bassmaster fans, how you like that?
Oh, we do like that. But again, not official until we get to the weigh-in. That's coming up at 3 p.m. today.
We're on day number 4 of this tournament. A lot of big fish have been caught throughout this week in this last 45-minute window before our anglers have to head to the weigh-in.
Cobb's been a little quiet lately. He kind of went on a tear there about an hour ago.
That's what he told us this morning when he was idling out. He's like, you know, it's weird. Like, I've had a flurry each day for 30 to 45 minutes in 3 different areas. Every day it's been a different brush pile that has produced his flurry, and he went through his 30-minute to an hour flurry there and settled in with his weight.
Sitting in 4th place. Drew Benton passed him a little while ago. Drew Benton with a great 21-pound plus stringer, unofficially.
"45 minutes fishing time remaining for a top 10 field. As weird as this whole tournament has been, you almost feel like it's not over yet.
No, I don't feel it is.
I'm gonna reel this one in, and then I'm gonna jump to one like right there. I didn't fish it earlier. I'll probably get on plane, but it's not. I mean, like where those trees are overhanging the bank there. Let's jump it.
I believe a couple of our key guys, Canterbury, Gross, are all
Probably
25 miles.
All of that.
Because Davey Heights said he followed Keith Combs on day 1 to a brush pile that was 25 miles away,
Yeah,
and he saw
you're good.
Lester there, which is right beside where Gross is.
Canterbury's the furthest south. He's just west of the dam.
Wow.
We're not going far at all.
He's got to leave in 15 minutes.
So Scott
Got to run
Canterbury's
back
time.
to Lake Point
Yes.
State
And
Park
that's
to
a
check
haul.
in by
With a Saturday boat traffic,
3 p.m.
too.
Eastern.
Time to run back.
You might have 10 minutes or less.
Benton is on the other side of the lake down there. And he's 1 bite away. Brandon Cobb is 2 bites away.
$7.5 for the big bass for the tournament. That kind of match up what you think, Z, Tommy? You guys think a 7.5 for the big bass was what we should have expected? Or do you think we should have seen an 8-pounder?
Hard to say. I mean, for the show's sake, as many 4 to 6 pounders as we've seen, very content.
Yeah, you're not going to get. And that we
no
saw the
complaints.
7.5. We saw the 7.5. That's always nice.
Only one thing settled, and that's that Eufaula is just an incredible
Absolutely.
lake. That is.
I might not get that in back. It was a fish, but it turned into a brush pile.
Here, Buddy Gross. Not wanting to lose that. Not wanting to lose that lure he has. Ron, where is he located right now on the lake? How many mile run will Buddy Gross have?
Let me refresh, make sure. He was near the island, down there in Patala. He's moved up lake considerably.
Okay.
He's just below the bridges.
Okay.
So he's probably
15
minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it might be even less than that. He does have a bullet.
Those two right there are the whole show, and Scott Canterbury, where he's located on the lake, does not have a lot of time left of fishing.
Going to need, again, a 5-pounder to put himself back in the league. That's based on the numbers we have. Again, they're unofficial.
His last ping, Canterbury on the map, was about 15-20 minutes ago, so he may have made a slight move north, but
Not good. About to throw up. About to throw up, bud. I don't feel good about it right now. I got to catch one. I mean, if I could get one big bite, I would. It's not just $19. $19 would give me a really, I mean, you seen 25 pounds yesterday and 23 and 22. I mean, I gotta catch them. Gotta catch one more, 2 more.
It's incredible how intuitive these guys are, how much they know. Without knowing, without seeing anything, hearing anything, they can size up and figure out the math.
I was worried. I was confused right there. He said 19, and I couldn't hear any other context. And I was like, does he think he has 19?
That's exactly what I thought.
Or needed 19. I think he needed.
Wants 19.
Yeah.
Because then somebody would have to bust the
Which is
second
exactly
biggest
the number.
bag of the tournament.
Right, yeah.
19
exactly
would be,
the
yeah,
number.
exactly, yeah.
Scott Canterbury, the only angler among the 86 who started out here to get 20 pounds each of the first 3 days.
See me go swimming. The swimming will be the easy part. Get my big butt back in here might be harder. Whoa.
Davey Height did confirm Buddy Gross made a 15-mile run
fella.
back towards takeoff. So he's only 10 minutes away, probably.
Oh my gosh, buddy. I think they got littler. Smaller. Let me correct my grammar. My English teacher get on to me.
$45 minutes with $100,000 on the line. Safety's pretty much off on anything that remotely feels like a bite on Lake Eufaula right now. I will tell you, you could really tell listening to Scott Canterbury that he
sized it up good, and he's
metal hitting metal upstairs right now.
Yeah.
Wheels are turning. Pretty much because of that guy right there.
Yeah.
All right, Scott Canterbury, still the man with the best chance at taking Buddy Gross down right now, but Buddy Gross has done the work today to put himself with one hand on the trophy, at least, and time running out. Scott Canterbury said it best, I got to catch one more. I've got to catch one more. He needs a 5-pounder in order to put himself back on top here.
And here's the thing, we're not even talking about Drew Benton, who also is one bite away from winning this thing.
Oh, yeah.
I usually said that.
Great point. Absolutely. Not done, but we are running out of time. We're going to take ourselves a quick break, come right back and see what transpires.
The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
Groundbreaking designs, unsurpassed quality, and unshakable confidence. Welcome to the Ranger Z500 and Z100 series. Leading the industry for over 50 years, these rigs are custom crafted and loaded with more features and advantages to deliver the ultimate ownership experience. The legendary Ranger Z series. Unleash next level performance. Mercury, go boldly.
Skeeter, is it still setting the standard? Let's see. First bass boat, first U.S. Coast Guard approved bass boat, first V-hull pad design, largest owners tournament, great fish and win program, first sponsored whole capacity concept, first production composite bass boat. Yeah, way too much for 30 seconds. And 18 consecutive CSI awards. Now we have introduced the FX Apex series, a fully featured boat with so many standard options, leaving nothing left to desire. So yes, we are still setting the standard. Skeeter.
You're watching the DeWalt's Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula, being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
less than half an hour's fishing time. We have a whale of a tournament going on here with what appears to be a very nail-biter of a finish. The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula, our TH Marine Weather Watch. Right now, 87 degrees, partly cloudy, 7 miles an hour worth of wind. Very comfortable out there. Beautiful day. It's been really nice weather throughout the course of this tournament. Had a few storms after the weigh-in on day number 1. Other than that, no problems. Still changing just enough to make the adjustments necessary for these anglers. Kuphall down there still working the bank. The shallow water bite was playing big at certain parts of certain days. But it's been an offshore battle, a battle royal between these two right here, Scott Canterbury and Buddy Gross. Those are the unofficial weights that we're looking at right there.
And it's almost like their entire tournament has flip-flopped. Buddy Gross starting off slow. You see guys, you know, Scott Canterbury, and really coming out here today, you thought, gosh, worst case scenario, he's going to catch 19 with his eyes closed, especially watching him fish yesterday. And the other side of this is, all of us in studio, now you start to really look at what these guys have caught today. Has one of them overestimated? Has the other one underestimated it? And these are days that our MC, Dave Mercer, lives for.
They rarely overestimate, but it's how much they underestimate.
That's right. And we have pointed out all day long, these weights are unofficial. They're never official till we get to weigh in. They're usually pretty close, although there are notable exceptions. Yesterday being one with Scott Canterbury. Right. We sort of put it on the rack with 19 pounds being his weight. He had 4 pounds more than that.
I have in my mind what I've seen him catch today, that he's closer to 18 pounds. Okay. I know what we have him at, but I think he is minimum a pound heavier.
Did Buddy Gross underestimate those two big ones? There's a lot more leeway for. I mean,
if you think about it, if you underestimate each fish by 3 ounces, it's going to be hard to tell a 7 and a 7.3 holding it in your hand. If you underestimate each fish by 3 ounces, that's a pound for your 5 fish. And if each guy did a pound one way or another,
virtual tie.
It could be a 2-pound swing one way.
But for where we have it right there, I think it's going to be much closer at our weigh-in.
Oh, there's a big one.
Look at this.
That's a big one.
Come on.
Maybe. I think. Don't you jump. No? Gosh, dog. Yeah. He'll help. Matters. That'll help.
2-pounder in the boat. Smallest fish for Scott Canterbury.
I don't even know what I did with my scale now. Fish will help. $3.7.
3 even.
It's going to be a 7-ounce upgrade. If he releases the right fish with the 3-pounder we have him with in the live well, he's got another one 3-1. So it's going to be hard to identify those.
He is shaking.
He is
breathing heavily.
Absolutely shaking.
See,
I'm on the way in just to make sure. Come on, crazy thing.
Okay,
All right, fellas underway. We assume of somewhere in the region of 7-8 ounces.
Yep.
Now, did he do the conversion from digital to ounces in his head? 3.7 or 3.7?
That could be true. Wow. If it's 3.7, that's a 3 3/4, and that's a 3/4 pound coal. That's 12 ounce coal.
Well, unless his other was 3.1.
It's close.
It's close.
Heck of an ending, man. Seriously.
No doubt.
Caleb Kuphall, great tournament fishing shallow. Only seen him lose one. It was a big one.
It's fairly early today. That shook him a little bit, too.
Got no words. It's awesome. Whole week's been awesome. Catching fish, catching big ones. I mean, there's nothing better than that. Fishing the way I like to, you know, I'm kind of a shallow water guy, so I love fishing shallow. Got to catch some on a buzzbait. Are you kidding me? Don't get much better than that. A lot of fun. I don't care if I end up 10th today. I mean, it's been an awesome week. Awesome week. Get some good points. Just need to pull up on a couple big ones yet here. We're in crunch time right now.
Big weight week right there for
probably
Caleb
been the most fun
Kuphall,
I've had catching
rookie
bass in
from
a long
Wisconsin.
time.
Big week on Eufaula, and really we talked about it earlier. He won the battle of the shallow water fishermen in this tournament, no doubt about it. Did it really up the strength of a topwater buzz bait and a jig, but he's not going to be our power pole replay of the day.
Sadly.
Yeah. I thought this morning there was potential with some of those topwater bites that he would be, but it's going to be this man right here, Buddy Gross. Tennessee angler, lives on Lake Chickamauga.
Quit that.
Right here, this bass right here is where we thought, all right, got something going here. We can create a little bit of drama with that giant bass from Lake Eufaula. And he backed it up with yet another huge bass. Fair to say, Buddy Gross is the power pole replay of the week, Ron Moore.
That's a big one. That's like a grown. Open your mouth. Woo!
Gosh.
That's it.
That is getting it done on the last day when you are over 7 pounds behind the leader.
That's his reputation, lives for the slugfest, the big fish tournaments, and man, he has put himself right in the middle of this one and put himself on top of the leaderboard. Though Scott Canterbury just caught one that is cut into this margin that we see in unofficial points right now, so it still could be way closer than what we're seeing right now. Maybe some more fish catching on the way as time runs out on Lake Eufaula.
The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
This reel allows you to cover more water, make more casts, giving you more opportunities to catch more fish. the new Revo rocket. Abu Garcia for life.
I can vividly remember back when I was a kid and, searching for information. And it was so much work and it was such a struggle to get that knowledge, to get that information.
We talked about the equipment, we talked about the bait, we talked about how to pick it apart.
It's highly detailed, specific information from A to Z to help you learn, get to the water, and become a better angler quickly. That's what the B.A.S.S University is all about.
I'm pro angler Andy Montgomery. I've been making my living with Strike King products for a long time. So when they showed me the new tour grade line, I was all in. I knew I could trust it. What I didn't know was how easy it was to use. With the spooling tool and the prepaid envelope to recycle your old line included in every single box. Not only is it the best line on the market, it gives you the easiest fishing experience possible. Find out more at StrikeKing.com.
You're watching the DeWalt's Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula, being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
Tomorrow, Sunday, our next 30 for 30 film, Long Gone Summer, takes an unprecedented inside look at Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa's record-breaking home run chase in 1998 with exclusive interviews from both. They helped bring baseball back after the 1994 strike, but it came at a price. 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. Very little time left on the water for these anglers, 10 of them left.
Taking a look at our Humminbird lay of the lake, home of Johnson Outdoors Humminbird plant. They're on the border of Alabama and Georgia. Absolutely legendary lake with the Bass Angler Sportsman Society. A lot of bass fishing history, a lot of techniques have come from this lake. One of the longest lakes that we fish on the Bassmaster Elite. In fact, the first time the actual Bassmaster Elite Series has been here, basically from the dam on Lake Eufaula, 85 miles of playing field up the Chattahoochee River. And you cannot say enough. Number one, if you look at the footage and the potential comeback that we have seen today, this is a lake that has received so much pressure, not throughout the decades, but really the last 3 weeks. This lake has been absolutely pounded by some of the best local anglers and has stood up and even, fair to say, has gotten better throughout this event. That is your Humminbird lay of the lake.
Give me a wrap up on your week overall here at Eufaula as we close today.
Oh man, Eufaula was it was a great tournament for me. I was a little concerned about this one coming in because I don't have much experience here. But the lake's fishing unbelievable. It's definitely kind of in an upswing on its cycle. And, lakes cycle, they go good to bad, good to bad. And when the lake's down, I hear guys all the time saying, oh man, the lake's in horrible shape, something's wrong. But that's just part of nature. And they do cycle, and Eufaula is just really on an upswing right now, fishing great. I was expecting to, primarily fish deep, brush piles, ledges, things like that when I got here. And then the water level started coming up during practice. And I didn't fish shallow at all the first day of practice. Second day of practice, I went shallow and could have had a big bag. And, that's when I made up my mind to mix it up more. And because obviously, there's some great big ones shallow now. There's some great big ones deep. And there's some great big ones in between. So it was a fun week. A lot of junk fishing. Little shallow, little deep, little in between, little docks, little brush, seawalls, grass, whatever. But good week overall. Starting off the year with 2 top 10s, so we have no complaints. We didn't execute very well this week, but that's, that's part of it. Very valuable AOY points. Yeah, I try not to even look or think about it, but the only reason I looked last night is because a buddy of mine told me, he said, hey man, he said, you and Canterbury are 1 and 2 in the AOY right now. And I said, well, that's cool.
Tell everybody, that's your travel.
Yeah, Canterbury is my travel partner, so. Sorry, I thought I saw a fish there for a second.
Yeah, 1 and 2. How about that? Roommates. I don't think we've ever seen that before.
No, not in the Angler of the Year standings. I don't think so.
No.
Matt Arey's had a really solid week, and it's kind of just been a hodgepodge from fishing shallow, going deeper, and Matt Arey starting this morning fishing a topwater frog. And here's the amazing thing that Matt Arey got to tell us after day 2, and he was our leader after day 2. He said, I promised myself, if I ever came back to Lake Eufaula, I would not fish shallow. I have been bruised and battered fishing shallow on this lake. It's always drawn me in. He said, boy, I saw that high water. I instantly went shallow.
Did it again.
And what's been funny is really the only day that Matt Arey did not catch a big one shallow was yesterday. Today, catching a bruiser of shallow on Lake Eufaula.
Yeah. Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you catch up quick.
And that was really one of the rare things that we saw on Lake Eufaula this week. Look, when we're here in March and April, when those fish are supposed to be shallow, you see tons of 5 to 8 pound bass. But that high water, a full moon last week, we had a mayfly hatch. It just really drew in a lot of better than average size bass on Lake Eufaula. And it, for a hodgepodge game plan, Matt Arey put a phenomenal tournament together.
Probably very few exceptions. The rule that rising water probably tempted each of our anglers, with very few exceptions, each of our anglers to the shore for one point, or at least wanted to go at some point.
And really, we watched Scott Canterbury, who's fished an unbelievable event. He would get drawn in, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure he talks with Matt Arey every single night, being roommates, to where he knew that there was a lot of big ones still up shallow. And that's what has been complicating about this tournament, is there were so many big ones biting up shallow, so many big ones out deep. You always have that voice going, boy, do I commit to living offshore and fishing these brush piles? Do I go up on the bank and just hunt individual fish? You have to give it up, though, really, on this final day. Scott Canterbury, whether win, lose, or draw, really stuck to his initial game plan.
No, gosh, no. Every single decision, in hindsight, you can look back and critique, but he could be at weigh-in and win by 2 ounces and realize that this little bitty coal that he thinks it was insignificant could be the one that wins in the event.
Absolutely.
Zaldain, let's check in with him at least one more time.
Great tournament.
Oh, yeah. Another great tournament for Chris Zaldain. Needed it. Had a slow start to his season down at the St. John's, and this one sets him in a lot better position points-wise. Oh, look at this.
Ah, he's a little one, but a keeper.
Tough day for Chris Zaldain, man. Oh, man, he's a go for broke guy. There's a specific breed of guys who go for broke each and every tournament. Chris Zaldain is that guy.
And really, if you looked at his 2019 season, you're looking at an angler with probably as much momentum as anybody in the Bassmaster Elite Series field, for the simple fact, I think we pretty much had a camera on him almost every championship Sunday of the 2019 season.
That's exactly right. Well, with 3 second places and a third, I mean, that's almost guaranteed.
Got his first one at Lake Lanier, his first second place. Went to Lake Guntersville. Got closed out just barely by Jamie Hartman. And we went to Cayuga Lake, and same song, second verse right there, although putting on a furious charge, trying to make smallmouth do it at the end of the day.
Exactly right. It just kept going throughout the season. You thought, how are you not leading the Angler of the Year race? Well, it's because Scott Canterbury had a very similar season as Chris Zaldain and almost pulled off the Bassmaster Classic last year. And really, looking back on this event, you heard him make a comment earlier today. He had the big fish area of the tournament
Giants out here on
every single morning.
Bassmaster Live, ESPN2. I see you. I see you.
He would catch bass just like that, but he didn't have the brush pile deal. And it really, he said, that's the one thing I missed in this tournament. I had the shallow water gig. I had a big fish spot. He didn't have that quality, call it 5 to 15 feet of water bite.
Did the same thing to each and every day. All of us who work on the TV show should send him a thank you card. We need a big time shot to start every day of broadcast, and he gives it to us. It's not the first time this has happened.
Swim towards me. Swim towards me. Yes.
Throwing a giant oversized spoon right there. There's a legal bass per bass rules if you're not visibly sight fishing a bass.
Oh, just the final moments coming down to it right now. Such a close race, maybe much closer than what you're seeing right there. The 83-1 versus 81-10. Buddy Gross over Scott Canterbury.
Very unofficial right there.
Yeah, super unofficial. Won't be official till we get done with the weigh-in, and that doesn't start until 3 o'clock. And guess what? That is bearing down on us very, very quickly right now. Some final thoughts, maybe a final look at a cast or two when we return.
The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is being brought to you live by Minn Kota.
What do a taco and a taco truck have in common? Nothing. If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
Sign up to compete in the inaugural Hook Bassmaster B.A.S.S. Nation Kayak Series, powered by Tourney X, presented by Abu Garcia in 2020. The trail features 5 regular season events, with a championship to be held in conjunction with the 2021 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic, presented by Hook. The first tournament will be at Logan Martin Lake in Bell City, Alabama on March 5th, in conjunction with the 50th Bassmaster Classic. To find out more details and to register, visit bassmaster.com/kayak. If you love bass fishing, then show your support by joining B.A.S.S. today. With your membership, you'll receive every issue of Bassmaster magazine, plus $50 in free gear, including a membership tackle bag, BASS cap, plus more. Click now on this video to join today. Bassmaster sweepstakes prizes are crazy good, and you'd be crazy not to enter.
Yeah, baby!
Enter now to win a fishing trip with 50th Bassmaster Classic champion Hank Cherry. Trip includes airfare, rental car, hotel, and $500 cash, plus a Basscat Saber FTD with Mercury 150 Pro XS Garmin electronics, and an amazing prize pack. Total value more than $50,000. There's a 100% chance you won't win if you don't enter. Go to Bassmaster.com and up the odds in your favor. It's fast and easy, and who knows, you could win.
If you want to know how the best anglers always seem to find fish, stay on fish, and be in the right place at the right time, don't ask them. Just look at the name on the side of their boat. The one that's built 10 million motors, shallow water anchors, and more. No angler's going to tell you their secrets, but they don't have to, because you already know. Minn Kota. Fish for more.
The DeWalt Bassmaster Elite at Lake Eufaula is brought to you by Abu Garcia, Berkeley, Nitro Boats, and by Ranger Boats.
Winding down an exhilarating and exhausting day here on Lake Eufaula, second stop of the year for the Bassmaster Elite Series. Final championship day today, Saturday. 10 anglers out there today. Buddy Gross unofficially with the lead as it stands. Again, those are unofficial numbers, could be far closer than that. Scott Canterbury, who started the day with a 4-pound lead, was overtaken by Buddy Gross sometime around midday today. Through Benton, Brandon Cobb have also put themselves close to the top in this one. A lot of changes during the course of the day, but the most significant ones, again, those two at the top of the leaderboard that you saw right there. Scott Canterbury, he's the reigning angler of the year. The greatest of all of them during the season of 2019, and he just kept on going with that momentum through this season. And this final day, starting with the lead, catches that good one right there.
How you like that?
Yep, we like that a lot. That was Scott Canterbury doing what he does. But then Buddy Gross. A lot of people picking Buddy Gross to do very well in this tournament. Starting the day in the 10th position. Well, he got a good one very early, about the same time Scott Canterbury got that big one. Just kept chipping away, until he finally got a hold of some unbelievable, a pair of unbelievably large bass, the kind you hardly ever see in the final part of the day on the last day of the tournament. Been a most unusual battle here.
That's it.
Buddy Gross
That's her.
Bringing in the goods, getting the job done, and he's officially on top.
And we know every single angler in the field, Zona, if they're at this level, they have every bait they need. They're all completely prepared. But the Garmin Winning Ways moment for Buddy Gross is making that adjustment for the bait that he's using.
Exactly right here, a Nichols prototype jig. And I asked Buddy last night, number one, he was the one that brought this jig up, and he said, I have found a bait. He goes, I feel like a lot of these fish are very conditioned. These fish that live in the brush piles, to a crankbait, to a big worm, they see those baits day in, day out. And I said, why is that a prototype? He said, because number one, I make it, okay? And if you look at that jig, a zoom trailer, but I want you to look at this right here really close. You see all those slices right there? You know you have found the right bait. When at the end of the day, there's teeth marks all over the head of your jig. And really, I'm gonna tell you, just from talking to Buddy Gross, one of the best offshore anglers on the planet, you could tell how excited he was last night just by making that bait change. That was the reason why right now, that is the reason he is the Garmin Winning Ways. Just that bait change from how pressured these bass are. Buddy Gross, that's the reason he is one of the best offshore fishermen in the world.
Well, there you go. Sizing up what happened out there today, and Scott Canterbury, such a big part of it. And you cannot write off Scott Canterbury at all at this point. Again, our weights are all unofficial. You see he has made it very close back to the check-in place. Lake Point Marina here in Eufaula, Alabama. Just a few casts just to see if he could turn up something.
I need a giant.
At the end of the day.
I don't need a giant, I need a 4-pounder. A good one. I've been wanting to fish this all week and I hadn't yet. I got about 3 minutes.
Critical 3 minutes of fishing right here for Scott Canterbury. We unofficially have him still behind Buddy Gross.
If you're looking for somebody to throw in the towel, this is not your man right here. Scott Canterbury's a bulldog. He loves the competition.
And it's worth noting, every minute that someone might be late to check in, it's a pound penalty.
Yes.
So making a run back, pushing it to the last second, if you slide in, even after it clicks over, 1 pound penalty. So these guys want to be there at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
I'm guessing Buddy Gross is there. I don't know that as fact, right?
He's on the trailer.
Come on.
literally final minute and a half here for Scott Canterbury.
You heard him say, I don't even need a giant, just a 4-pounder, and he's pretty much right about that.
Let's take off just to his left.
I ain't got time to make all the necessary pitches.
We've seen catches, meaningful catches this
We
late
have.
in the game, so don't just.
As nuts as this final day has been, it would not surprise me. Right?
Let's go. I did all I can do. I did all I can do. Laid it all out there. Did everything I can do.
Boy, what is he thinking right now?
He said, I'm sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
He told us that 30 minutes ago.
His shaking, his breathing,
Yes.
when he caught that 3-7 to Cole, I mean, that tells you everything. A guy who won an Angler of the Year title and has won events before, it means something to him to win this event.
Absolutely. That's something he wants desperately, you can tell. As do all these guys.
A commanding lead also, you can't stress this enough, a commanding lead on a lake that the weights were so incredibly close all the way until the weigh-in yesterday.
Scott Canterbury said, I thought I needed 19 pounds.
Gonna be close.
He's still right.
I mean, I don't know.
How's your heart right now?
Not good. Not good at all. I mean, I did everything I could do, though. Caleb.
He's worried about the wrong guy.
You were worried about the wrong
He's worried about the wrong guy.
Man, oh man. What a past 14 months it's been for Scott Canterbury. What a week it's been here on Lake Eufaula. Just, you can't say enough about this place. Why have we not been here before? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I bet we're coming back.
You know, as crazy of a week as this has been, we made this comment day 2 in this studio. We called Lake Eufaula our MVP just because the first day was so good with fish catches, and it got better and better and better. And it's fair to say, win, lose, or draw with Buddy Gross, that was one of the hundreds of tournaments you and I have covered together, that was one of the most incredible final day performances I have ever seen on the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Weigh-in coming up on Bassmaster.com, straight up 3 o'clock, Dave Mercer hosting. Check it out. We will see you next time on Bassmaster Live, Tom.